Send Tin Technopole to boost its industries. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The government has unveiled a conceptual outline of the development plan for the innovation and technology industry in the Tin Technopole today. The Tin Technopole is expected to contribute some $250 billion to Hong Kong's GDP annually upon full operation and provide over 300,000 full-time jobs. Located at the heart of the northern metropolis, the Tin Technopole will earmark 210 hectares, or some 30% of its land, for Innotech purposes. The government's blueprint outlined the three key strands of the hub's development positioning. First, providing space for prototyping, pilot production, and small-scale manufacturing. Second, developing high-quality local Innotech industries. And third, pooling global INT resources and talent. In terms of industry development, the Tin Technopole can provide land of larger scale to support strategic industries such as life and health technology, AI and robotics, microelectronics and smart devices, new energy and green tech. It will also focus on the building of Hong Kong's innovation and technology industrial system with advanced manufacturing as its core. The Technopole's Innotech zone will have 3 hubs and 3 industry development corridors. Among them, the He-Tao hub will connect with the life and health technology corridor. The Chow-Tao hub will gather international research bodies and tech startup offices with the AI and robotics corridor. The Keelan hub will provide commercial facilities to support Innotech talent with strategic white space for supporting emerging technology industries in the future.
The past several years for the downstream development, we do meet some difficulties. One of the major difficulties is the land. We have no land. Now, Tin Technopole, they will provide a relatively larger scale of land for our industry development. This will be a golden opportunity for Hong Kong to develop our industry as fast as possible.
The Independent Commission Against Corruption has issued arrest warrants for 2 individuals suspected of inciting others online not to vote in the Legislative Council election. Momo Sengai reports.
The ICAC said one of the wanted individuals, Gern Gawai, has been posting on social media since October to urge residents not to vote in the Legislative Council election. Gern is also wanted by the National Security Department of the Police Force with a reward of $200,000. The 34-year-old man was previously suspected of organizing and running for the so-called Hong Kong Parliament and was suspected of committing the crime of subversion of state power. The 44-year-old Tong Wai Hong is also wanted by the ICAC. He posted on social media to incite people not to vote in the LegCo election. And the ICAC has charged 3 other individuals with reposting related posts online. The ICAC reiterated that reposting such content is illegal. Separately, the National Security Department of the Police Force arrested a 68-year-old man on Tuesday for allegedly publishing seditious messages online repeatedly and inciting others not to vote or to cast blank ballots in the LegCo election. Meanwhile, the Office for Safeguarding National Security of the Central People's Government in Hong Kong said it will work with the Hong Kong government to severely punish any acts that interfere with or disrupt the election in accordance with the law. A spokesperson criticized anti-China elements and external forces for using the cover of democracy and freedom to openly or covertly incite people to boycott the election. The spokesperson emphasized the office adopts a zero-tolerance attitude towards acts and interfere with or disrupt the election. Momo 9, TVB News.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva made the case that the world must reduce its use of fossil fuels at the UN COP30 climate conference. But in his remarks, Lula was careful to say there's no intention to impose anything on anybody, even though he said he would one day convince U.S. President Donald Trump about the serious climate issue. The presence of Lula and UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has stirred some optimism that COP30 would move forward more quickly ahead of Friday's scheduled wrap-up. Scores of countries are pushing for a detailed roadmap on how to phase out fossil fuels, and that's key to toughening new climate plans for a shot at limiting future warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, the global goal set in 2015's Paris Agreement. U.S. President Donald Trump signed the bill to release the files from the Justice Department investigation into the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The material could shed more light on the activities of Epstein, who socialized with Trump and other notable figures before his 2008 conviction on charges of soliciting a minor for prostitution. Even some Trump voters believe his administration has covered up Epstein's ties to powerful figures and obscure details surrounding his death in a Manhattan jail in 2019, as he faced federal sex trafficking charges. At a news conference, Attorney General Pam Bondi confirmed that her department will release the materials within 30 days.
So we have released over 33,000 Epstein documents to the Hill, and we'll continue to follow the law and to have maximum transparency. Also, we will always encourage all victims to come forward.
And still ahead, White House says Saudi pledges to invest $1 trillion in the states. Elon Musk says AI and robots will end poverty. And from teens to octogenarians, 82-year-old ex-martial artist among Hong Kong's record-breaking volunteer corps at National Games. Welcome back. Saudi and U.S. officials touted billions of dollars in new investments and growing financial ties between the two countries on Wednesday, coinciding with Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's first visit to Washington since 2018. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Speaking at a U.S.-Saudi business forum in Washington, D.C., U.S. President Donald Trump was full of praise for the growing trade ties between his country and Riyadh. He recounted how he urged Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to up his country's investment in the U.S. to the staggering figure of $1.5 trillion.
Well, I said, could you try and get that up to $1 trillion? And yesterday, the Crown Prince announced that the number that they'll be investing in the United States is $1 trillion. So that's really an honor. And we just took a picture backstage with some of the great business leaders and some of the great people, friends of mine from your country, and beautiful picture. And while we were taking the picture, I said, could you make it 1.5 trillion? So he's got something to think about. I don't know. We'll get something. I think we'll get something, Scott, right?
Trump and bin Salman applauded $270 billion in agreements and sales signed between dozens of companies at the Kennedy Center conference. These included planned purchases of 600,000 NVIDIA AI chips by Humane, a government-backed Saudi AI firm. Separately, MP Materials said it would build a rare earths refinery in Saudi Arabia with the U.S. Department of Defense and Saudi Arabian state-owned mining company Ma'aden to expand Middle Eastern processing of the critical minerals. Oil giant Saudi Aramco also said it has signed 17 memoranda of understanding and agreements with major U.S. companies, carrying a potential value of more than $30 billion. A $1 trillion investment in the U.S. would be difficult for Saudi Arabia to pull together, given its heavy spending on an already ambitious series of massive projects at home. Still, its ample land and energy resources are key ingredients to building AI infrastructure. Trump himself could benefit from closer business ties with Saudi Arabia. He and several of his confidants have forged business deals with Saudi partners in real estate and other investments. Donald TVB News.
Tech billionaire Elon Musk made bold predictions about the impact that artificial intelligence and humanoid robots will have on society in the not-too-distant future. Speaking at the U.S.-Saudi Investment Forum, Musk claimed that work will become optional for human beings, poverty will be eliminated, and monetary currency will be irrelevant.
If you say, like, in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Yeah.
So people often talk about sort of eliminating poverty and that kind of thing, but really, how long have they been talking about that? There's lots of talk. There's lots of NGOs sort of trying to do these things, but really not succeeding. And the evidence speaks for itself. But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. There will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints. But I think at some point, currency becomes irrelevant.
Foreign Minister Wang Yi has begun his three-nation Central Asia tour in Kyrgyzstan and met with Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov. Wang says China is the most reliable partner for Kyrgyzstan, while urging closer cooperation in a number of sectors, including green minerals. Foreign Minister Wang Yi arrived in Kyrgyzstan's capital, Bishkek, at the Central Asian nation's invitation on Thursday. That also marked Wang's first visit to Kyrgyzstan in 3 years. Welcomed personally by Kyrgyz Foreign Minister Jinbek Kulubayev, the pair exchanged greetings in Putonghua. Before sitting down for their inaugural strategic dialogue. Wang praised Kyrgyzstan's rapid development in recent years and stressed that China remains its most dependable and reliable partner. He said both sides should accelerate the modernization of border checkpoints, advance negotiations on a trade-in services and investment agreement, and expand cooperation in tourism, healthcare, and green energy minerals. He adds that China's 15th five-year plan will create fresh opportunities for Kyrgyzstan as Beijing pursues economic growth alongside long-term social stability. Kulubayev meanwhile says Kyrgyzstan hopes to deepen collaboration in trade, investment, agriculture, and mineral resources, and is actively studying participation in the International Organization for Mediation headquartered in Hong Kong. He reaffirms Kyrgyzstan's commitment to the One China principle and says both sides are exploring easier visa arrangements, more direct flights, and joint efforts to combat terrorism and separatism across the Central Asian region. Following the meeting, Wang also met with Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov. He spent less than 24 hours in Kyrgyzstan before departing for Uzbekistan. Featuring solutions and tech products for the senior citizens, the annual Gerontech and Innovation Expo Summit was launched at the Convention and Exhibition Center in Wanchai on Thursday. More than 270 exhibitors offer over 1,000 products and solutions. Momo Sengai reports.
A large section of the expo showcases products which involve the application of artificial intelligence. The smart wheelchair helps elderly people deliver items. To control the artificial hand, which is connected to the wheelchair, users can give voice commands. Or they can control it with a button.
We find that there are a lot of elderly people using the wheelchair, so our system is portable. You can just take it out and mount on different wheelchairs. By using this system, he can easily take care by themselves.
While this toilet may look no different to other ones, its height can in fact be adjusted. The Swedish exhibitor said the system can reduce the workload of carers.
For the nurses and caregivers to not do a lot of heavy lifting while helping a person standing up from the toilet. We're getting older, and in the future, enough people taking care of the elderly. So every product or solution that can help people getting more independent, that's really well needed also in Hong Kong.
Members of the public can visit the fair until Sunday. Admission is free. Members 9, TVB News.
Behind the thrill and medal-chasing matchups at the national games are the city's 16,000 volunteers who help ensure the events run smoothly from start to finish. Drawn from all walks of life and with a wide age range from 15 to over 80, they also form the city's largest ever volunteer force. A familiar sight at every national games venue in Hong Kong are these squads donning signature volunteer uniforms. Among the most senior is 82-year-old Grandma Wong. She says it's a dream come true to be a volunteer at the National Games. Why? Grandma Wong in her youth was a gold medal winning martial artist in international and cross-strait competitions and later served as a long-time martial arts coach. But Grandma Wong missed the chance to volunteer at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Upon learning that Hong Kong would be co-hosting the multi-sport national tournament, she immediately applied through her Center for Seniors. She says having been an athlete, she knows the pivotal roles of volunteers in helping the contest run hiccup-free, adding that she can shop for souvenirs during the breaks. Tate White, a medical student at the Chinese University of Hong Kong, juggles 9-hour volunteer shifts on top of a heavy academic load. But he says the experience is invaluable.
As a medical student, we often don't have the opportunity to participate in these mega events, and I do think being a volunteer here does provide me with a platform to not only understand how mega events are conducted, but also to develop my interpersonal skills and to really practice how to work collaboratively in a team. And perhaps being one of the younger team members here, we can cover for other volunteers.
Each volunteer will put in about 3 to 5 days of service during the national games. Apart from competition-related activities, some volunteers will also take on duties of receiving athletes from different provinces. Some volunteers have been handpicked as ceremonial assistants at award presentations with special training in etiquette and posture. The Hong Kong National Games Coordination Office received more than 30,000 volunteer applications before some 16,000 were chosen. A quick reminder before we go, as our special National Games live coverage on Pearl has concluded. Our evening news at 7:30 will return to its usual 7:30 p.m. time slot tomorrow. See you then.